everybody, and welcome into Behind the G, a podcast for Red Elephants by Red Elephants. I'm KDB, Adam Lindsay, sitting courtside to my right, anxiously waiting, like all celebrities, for the moment the camera finds him, just so he can act humbled and surprised by the recognition. Each week on Behind the G, we strive to bring you, as the great ABC News broadcaster Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. And this week, that includes having our first-year volleyball coach back on so we can hear how her first 2 months living our way of life has gone. And, of course, we're going to check the vibes of our football program coming off game one of their region schedule. Before we get into it, if you aren't already following us on social media, do so. At Go Red Elephants is our handle across all platforms. That includes TikTok. Make sure you're visiting our website daily for updated athletic news, photos, and general information. And download our Gainesville Athletics app, available in the Apple and Google Play stores, so you can roam with the Red Elephants wherever you go. Now, speaking of roaming, and as a segue into From the Trunk, where we highlight our recent alumni currently playing college sports, last weekend, Adam and his lovely wife, Abby, traveled to Arizona to have a little vacation, but mainly to see their daughter and our Red Elephant, Avery, play volleyball. So first off, before we get into Avery and what she did and then the rest of our alumni, what did y'all do outside of sitting in a gym?
Well, first of all, I got to say, we get phone calls from people in Florida thinking we are Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah.
And if any of those people would happen to accidentally be listening to the podcast today, the fact that you started the podcast off with "Hey y'all," they will quickly realize we are in Georgia.
That is correct.
Had a great trip to Phoenix. It was my first trip out there. We were able to kind of get away and do some excursions each day, which made it a lot of fun. The crazy thing is here every day I wake up at 6 o'clock.
Right.
Woke up at 6 o'clock, which means I slept 3 hours late, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But long needed. But we were able to get in, 5-6 hours, kind of going and doing excursions each day and go and seeing all the many sites in that area. Unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah.
Got to go on a kayak tour, through the mountainous desert, as whatever you might call it. It was just incredibly beautiful. Got to go on some hikes, see Bell Mountain, Cathedral, Butte, as you call it. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing scenery out there.
Is it? I found it the first time I went out west. And I don't mean west as in California. I mean west as in the Montana, the Wyoming, the Idaho areas. I was so humbled by what. You're driving down the road and all of a sudden there's this magnificent peak.
Yeah.
The likes of which the Blue Ridge Mountains cannot touch.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. I took away a couple of things, which I find at least humorous. Number one, not much greenery out there.
No.
So you're driving around and there's no grass anywhere.
Right.
Every grass is fake. So that's crazy, like driving down the highway, and we're just used to seeing pine trees and grass down the middle of the highway. It just doesn't exist there. The second thing is, and this was like every time we noticed it, which was a lot, it was just baffling. Arizona may be the leader in the country for vanity license plates. and yes.
Seriously?
Everybody out there has a personalized license plate, and you may have to decipher what it means because there's so many there, but every car.
What a fun road trip game.
I mean, wow.
Really?
Yes, it was amazing. And then the second one, or I guess the third one, and maybe it was just the area we were staying in. And I've always heard that people move to retire in Arizona, just like they do in Florida or whatever. Amazing, tiny mobile home communities.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they were great, and they all said 55 and up, whatever. But I was just amazed at how big and vast they were, and how many there were.
Yeah.
Of course, house yards very small. Again, because there's no grass. So it was, just different areas, just you're not used to, So we had a lot of fun. We enjoyed ourselves and got to see some things. Who knows if we'll ever make a trip back to Phoenix.
Right.
But I think we made the best of it and had a good time. We got to see some pretty decent volleyball while we were out there as well.
Before we get to that volleyball, you've heard the term ick. What's your ick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so vanity license plates
it's pretty high up there.
And here's the thing. Yeah, I just
well, and like for us, like driving around, because we did a lot of driving, because like nothing's close, so everything was like an hour, 2 hours, and like every time we saw one, we just looked at each other like, "Are you serious?" Like, and like, you know, because like in Georgia, like if you see one, it's kind of odd.
if you see one, it is either somebody or someone who wishes they were somebody.
Yeah, but literally out there, like every other car you saw. Had a vanity license plate.
That's so funny.
And like what people would choose to like make their vanity license plate. I should have like taken pictures so I could talk about examples. But
if you had a vanity license plate made, what would it?
I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't.
Is it bad? Is it bad that I immediately went to what I? I'm just
don't get sick right here.
No, I'm not. Like my vanity, it's simple. Like it's gonna make you feel bad that you just laughed at me. What my vanity plate would be. KTB, GHS.
Oh yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. No, yours just says KTB.
KTB, just that.
That'd be pretty simple.
Don't pull her over.
Hey, everybody would know who you are.
Everybody would know who I was. And some people might pull me over just because. Hey, I heard what you said on that podcast. No, I'm kidding. No one's listening. So anyway, now to our alumni and what they're doing collegiately. From the Trunk, a segment I look forward to each and every week, if for no other reason. Then you hear names maybe you haven't thought of or haven't thought of in a minute and get to hear what it is they are doing collegiately. And I want to start, though, with the reason you went out to Phoenix, and that is Avery Lindsay, former volleyball player here at Gainesville, doing big things at Cleveland Community College in North Carolina. And have mercy, they go out to Phoenix to play.
Yeah, I think that was, Cleveland Community College, I think, only like 4 or 5 years old. So the coach wanted to be the first team to get on a plane and go out west.
Well, dadgummit, she did it.
So she checked the box on that one. But they played 4 matches out there, played number 5 in the country, played number 13 in the country, and got to see some really, really good volleyball, some really good players, and they didn't win a whole lot, but they played well. They took a set off of the number 13 team in the country, and I think that was kind of a moral victory, however you want to put it. But they played well. They really did. They it's that time of the season where they're about to get into real tough conference play, so they needed to see that before they get into that aspect of it. So. But Avery did well, served the ball well, played good defense, set the ball well. So
good. Love hearing it.
Having a good freshman year.
Love hearing it. Who else we got, and what else do they do?
So a couple of interesting. I'm just going to start with I always try to find where 2 Red Elephants have played each other in the last week. So this last week we had Trent Jones at Fort Valley State and Cash O'Callahan, who played safety for us last year, who's at Delta State. They played each other. Delta State pulled out the win. Another interesting thing this week, wanted to mention just the University of West Georgia. We have 3 Red Elephants playing for the University of West Georgia. Elijah Ruiz, who took his transfer year, he finished out his time, graduated from East Tennessee, and is now Tennessee Tech. My bad. And is now playing his last year at West Georgia. Cedric Nicely, also on that same offensive line at West Georgia. And then Taz Smith, who graduated last year, receiver, is at West Georgia. And they picked up the 34-3 win over Samford last Saturday.
Isn't that crazy that Elijah and Cedric are back on the offensive line together?
Crazy, yeah. Full circle.
Man, if you think like you're – so and I'm just going back like last few years, right? Because we had some big O-linemen. Mm-hmm. But you get like a Jordan Williams.
Yep.
And that's not – listen, the O-line we got this year.
Yeah.
Just we'll be talking about that with Coach Niblett, right?
Yeah.
The O-line we got this year is great. But if you look, you got Cedric. I'm just talking the body type. Cedric, Elijah, Jordan. Like, my goodness.
Well, and the crazy thing is, I felt like I noticed for a while there, we either had great skill kids.
Yeah.
Or we had great linemen.
Yeah,
and it's nice for us to now. We're kind of putting them both
Amen
together.
to that, yep.
But when Elijah was here, we had a great offensive line. Didn't always have the great skill kids to go with that same depth that we had at offensive line. Jordan Williams, all those kind of players. But excited for those guys to get to play with each other again. On our T-Lander watch, 6 tackles this week versus UAB and Tennessee's 56-24 win. Do want to mention another first for a Red Elephant. Sky Niblett had 2 receptions with his first touchdown.
Oh, that's awesome.
Collegiate touchdown. So excited for him. And then Darius Cannon had 4 catches for Murray State this last week. So, again, Red Elephants out there making some noise, participating and being productive.
Yeah.
So,
and again, we just love it. We don't care if you get on the field for 5 seconds, if you get on the court for 2 minutes. We just love that you came from here and you're still in some way representing us, because heaven knows our eyes are on you simply because you came here and once did represent us. So, on a side note, and flipping this a little bit, but staying with you being gone, I was clearly very affected. I was traumatized a little bit last week because he was gone. How was it not being at your school's football game for the first time in 13 years?
I did not like that whatsoever.
Yeah, especially considering the first half.
Yeah, the first half was frustrating to watch on an iPad, a couple thousand miles away. But, I always feel confident. The first half did not go, the way that we wanted it to. We had Coach Niblett will be much nicer than I will about it. The officials did not do their job.
No.
I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of conversations with the official association, and they have recognized their concerns, and they've been great about it. And they, at the end of the day, we need those guys. There's a shortage of officials, so we can only be so hard on them. But we do need them to learn.
We need them to know the rules.
We need them to learn the rules. We need them to get better
and not be belligerent when they don't know the rules.
Yeah. They're I'll just say the official association has been very good about that conversation about the things that happened in the first half that were incorrect. And they've assured me that they will address those and fix those. But 13 years being on the sideline and then coaching before that, I don't like to watch high school football on TV. I really don't even like to watch, like when we have a bye week, I really don't even like watching other people. I'd rather go stand on the sideline and watch. So hopefully that's the last one. I'm not guaranteeing it will be. When it boils down to it, I do have to get away every once in a while and go support my daughter when I can. And this just happened to be the right time when it was an away game. I would not have left if it had been a home game. But
sure.
Fortunately, if always feel confident about Coach Niblett and what the team's going to do, and know that everything's going to be handled the right way when I'm not here. But I do not like that, and don't look forward to next time whenever that has to happen.
Yeah, and I want to be very clear about something. Yes, Adam is an administrator here. It is his duty to oversee what happens, but not really at away games. He goes to games to watch our young people perform and to support our coaches, not to micromanage them, and any of them will tell you, but to support. And so him saying it bothered him to not be there, it wasn't from a micromanagerial standpoint. It was because he loves watching our kids compete. Absolutely. And he loves watching our coaches coach.
Absolutely. Doesn't mean I don't have opinions on.
Oh my gosh!
Just like everybody else, I get to be an armchair quarterback too at away games.
So I want to know this, and obviously I've overheard
too much.
I overhear too much. Yeah. Fortunately, I'm not in the business of repeating information, but how do you deal with, and I said this about the officials. I was on the sideline Friday night, and I said this about the officials then, and I maintain it. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place a little bit because they obviously don't have the benefit of review. Yeah. Like their compadres at the college and professional level do. Mm-hmm. But it is really frustrating when you know something is wrong and it can't be righted. Yeah. And fortunately, it did not cost us. It didn't cost us a lot. It costed us a touchdown. It didn't cost us a lot, and it didn't cost us a game. But there are instances where, it does. What is the process like from the athletic director standpoint? The Monday morning, or maybe the Saturday morning, following a game where how do you first of all know that you need to contact the officials?
Well, it's kind of a judgment call. I think we were fortunate this week that we won. If we had not, if that call, those calls had had a difference in the outcome of the game, it would have been handled differently.
Yeah.
In this situation, oddly enough, fortunately, I was watching the game on the iPad, so there's a couple of situations where I was able actually just to bleep it backwards, a couple of seconds, video with my phone, and I literally texted that to the head of the Officials Association during the game.
Yeah.
So they saw it right away and recognized the issue right away. Typically, whether that's football or basketball or whatever, there's any kind there's a form to fill out.
Yeah.
If you're actually going to file a official complaint with the GHSA, where you have to explain everything and submit the video and show all that. The GHSA is not typically going to get involved unless there's an official complaint filed. And they're going to back the officials, which they should. I'm not going to argue with that by any stretch of the imagination. But certainly, if those calls, those officials had affected the outcome of the game, there would have been an official report filed on that. And good or bad, you file the report, and typically you don't hear much about it.
Right.
But this was one I felt like. That officials association needed to be aware.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, those officials are representatives of that officials association, and they want to get it right.
And they're going to be reffing other games.
Correct.
So might as well learn a lesson here and not make it moving forward. And listen, it was for both sides. Let me be very clear. There was an instance where it was on a kickoff. The ball goes into the end zone, but maybe it was touched at the one. There was something strange that happened, and the officials go to place the ball down where they thought it was down, but the ball had actually gone into the end zone, and it needed to be a touchback. And it took someone screaming wildly from Lanier's sideline, and I can say screaming wildly because we could hear him on our sideline. And he was being rather indignant, and he had every right to be. It was a moment in the game where Lanier had some momentum. It was the first half. Mm-hmm. And the officials listened and got together and talked about everything. And, we complained as fans because the first half took forever.
Yes.
Because they were getting together and having to talk about everything. But at least they were getting together and trying to figure it out.
It's a whole lot better than them just saying, we're not even going to listen. We're not going to even talk about it. We're just doing it. We're just doing it my way. I did see that one play as well. Clearly was in the end zone and ran it out. And you just certainly from the view that I was watching it, it was like, well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Just like the play where, you clear as day see the receiver break the huddle. He runs to the sideline, stands next to the head coach, outside of the fat white line.
Correct.
Stand next to him, the head coach points, all right, go. And it's like a second before they snap the ball. Like, that is clearly illegal.
It's illegal on every level, even though Oklahoma did it the next day.
Yeah, well, at least the Oklahoma kid did not leave the field.
Yeah.
He was still, his feet were still on the green. The kid on Friday night was standing outside of the white. There was no even question about that one. So again, fortunately, was able to get a real good view of that on video.
I'll also say this though, as a coach, I don't send the kid back on the field.
Well, it was an attempt. It was an absolute attempt to try to be deceitful. There was no question about that. They probably
it worked.
They probably it may only work once, but my God, we're going to get a touchdown out of it.
It absolutely worked.
It worked. There's no doubt that was Lanier practiced that. There's no doubt on that. But shame on them.
Yeah.
But again, I can't express it enough. We are in a shortage of officials. Officials are going to make mistakes, and we're all human. At the end of the day, we just want them to learn and get better at it. So hopefully we don't run into that issue again. And I have no doubt that officials crew will never let that happen again.
I have no doubt that officials crew may see Gainesville on their schedule and go, we're not doing that. Coach Josh Niblett is a spiritual man. He's a godly man, but he showed out a little bit Friday night.
Well, but at the end of the day,
he's taking up for his kids.
As a head coach, you see something that is clearly wrong. You clearly have to address it.
Right.
And you argue as much as you can. You stand up for your kids. You have your kids back until you realize I'm wasting time.
Correct.
They're not going to listen. They're not going to change. And again, I don't know in that situation if, with that one play with the kid running off and then stepping back on at the last second, I don't know if the officials didn't see it.
Yeah.
If the officials thought it was okay. I don't know what their mentality was. So,
Yeah.
It just it is what it is. And again, at the end of the day, it did not cost us the game. The Red Elephants were able to do what they needed to do in the second half to get the win, and that's all that matters.
Hey, listen, we got our footing while the bands played, baby. 57-30, the final. Coming out of Lanier, we got Coach Niblett coming up. It's homecoming week as we continue here. To everyone listening in, first of all, thanks. You can make your checks out to the Davis Foundation for KDB. I'm just kidding, Adam. I meant the GAC. But secondly, let's all take a moment to get in the Wayback Machine real quick. We all experienced as Red Elephants a Spirit Week as part of homecoming. Where you dressed according to the theme of the day, pajama day. We had some not great. We had some politically incorrect days that we don't need to repeat. But Adam went to Duluth High School, and I'm curious at Duluth. Like, did y'all do school spirit stuff? Was school spirit present at Duluth?
I think so. I mean, I think Duluth was a much smaller school than it is now, much smaller school than Gainesville is right now. So I definitely think there was a lot of community pride.
Yeah.
Although we were historically a 3-7 football team, couldn't get away from that. Norcross was our big rival, and we definitely had our spirit weeks, and I think the school got into it. Nothing like today.
No,
our spirit days today are just odd to me.
They are odd.
There's
it's not fun. It takes no thought or creativity.
Well, I mean, somebody had to put some kind of thought into, because like whatever one we had yesterday was
the dress like your what was it? Dress like your type. Dress like your type.
I still don't get it.
That's because you're not on the social medias.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, it's a trend on social media. You dress like your type.
Okay,
it's a thing. It's a thing you do. I don't personally partake in that kind of thing, and did not yesterday. But yeah. It's a thing. But, we have pajama day. And
yeah, I mean, that makes sense, where,
I don't understand why our kids wear their pajamas anyway.
Well, that's
Every day is Spirit Day here in Gainesville High School.
You're not wrong on that one. I mean, but, the camo day makes perfect sense. Or, like something like very easy to follow the message of what's going on. Dressing like your type, though, I just don't.
What's funny on camo day? It feels like nobody's at school. I can't see them.
Oh, well.
They just blend in with the trees.
Hey, nothing wrong with
Every once in a while, I'll hear a turkey call. But we run when that happens. Yep. All right, folks, we're going to catch up with volleyball coach Christina LeCeouvre next, and then our weekly vibe check with Coach Josh Niblett. Thanks for being here. Feel free to make yourself at home. This is Behind the G. The continued success of Red Elephant Athletics is due in large part to the support given by our Gainesville community through their membership to the Gainesville Athletic Club. The GAC serves all of our GHS programs with funds providing the necessary equipment and gear, among other things, that ensure our student athletes continue receiving a Division I experience in high school. Learn more and become a GAC member today by visiting GoRedElephants.com. Well, it's hard to believe, but next week is the last week of the regular season for volleyball. Our Red Elephants currently sitting in fourth place in the Region 7 5A standings, 19-11 overall. Tuesday night, lost to second-seeded team in Johns Creek. We've got the fifth-seeded team coming up on Tuesday when we go to Seconder. Next Thursday, now y'all mark your calendars, it's senior night for Kendall Butler, Lily Grace Clay, and Taylor Reed and Caroline Mathis, the latter two of which are legacy Red Elephants. Their roots run deep. Their moms, Jenny Brinson Mathis, Brooke Stokes Reed, are going to be celebrating their 30-year class reunion this homecoming weekend. Joining us now on Behind the G, backed by popular demand, I might add, the head of our volleyball program, Christina LeCeouvre. So as we start out, Coach, we got to admit, and this is a we thing, this is not a me thing. When we originally talked about having you on this week, we did so like thinking we were going to have at least one championship to talk about. But I mean, look, coming in second in the county, coming in second in your own tournament. Like, good for you. Your first year, good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, when it boils down to it, what is it like to
It's actually our third second place trophy of the season. We got second the first.
What is it like to host two tournaments that you can't win?
Oh my gosh, this is how we're starting off the podcast. I came in with I'm positive today after the loss. Okay.
I literally
stay positive. Well, thank God there's somebody else there to hand over the first place trophy to the other team, because that's the biggest thing. And I think I told you, Adam and CJ, I was like, if we lose, I'm not doing that. I just can't do it.
I mean, you seem to handle coming in second place like it's natural.
Well, I'm not a second place person.
So the whole So the whole premise.
I'm like sweating. Okay, I'm starting to sweat now. He's getting me fired
The
up.
whole when we were talking yesterday, Adam said, "Hey, I've got this great idea."
Poke
the sinister mind of our athletic director. He was like, "I've got this great idea," and I said, "Perfect person," and here's why: because we both know that you're not a second place person,
right?
Like that. I mean, how far did that water bottle go that she threw after the county tournament?
And you don't think a metal water bottle can dent? She's living proof it does.
And they
I slung it when no child was watching.
No,
that is the parentheses around that.
And she did not throw it at.
No.
It was an underhand sling.
Yeah.
But I mean, in all honesty,
it's frustrating if we're being if we're being serious about it. I'm not mad at the girls, and that's what I told them. It's just frustrating because I know we can do it.
It wouldn't be frustrating if you didn't know they could.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like I could accept it a little bit better and be like, oh, well, we played hard, but they were just better. And I just don't feel like in any of the 3 cases that was the case. And so we have to just use it as it's not losses, it's learning lessons. And we just kind of have to really hope that and trust the process that in the bigger picture here, now that we get into the final games of region play and we start the region tournament, that those losses in those crucial games are going to come back and help us maybe propel forward in a tough match.
Yeah, and the fine line between being upset because the potential was not met and not being upset because the potential wasn't there to be met.
Right.
Isn't something you can recognize when you're 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old.
Right.
You've got to have a bigger perspective. And I think that it says a lot about where our volleyball program is, that frustration does exist. And listen, folks, we would not have started out with that joke if and
it was a joke.
And it was a joke.
I know.
If the frustration wasn't a real thing because of what you just said, we've got some talent.
We do, and we're down. We're not dead yet, and that's what I just keep saying. And we just have to. We're going to watch film today at practice and just continue to get better, and just remember those moments and how important little tiny mistakes at certain points in the game just can't happen, and that's just. We got to get a little bit more mentally tough on that, and that comes from preparation, though, and continue to be prepared for those situations and continue to put them in adverse situations during practice, so that way, hopefully, in a game, we just feel more confident to execute.
And the fortunate part about volleyball is that you play each of your region opponents one time. Right. That is solely for the purpose of seeding for the region tournament. The region tournament is what gets you to the state playoffs and gets your seeding in the state playoffs. So. As you turn your eyes to, as we mentioned, you are getting close to your end of your region schedule. What is it that you're looking to have learned from your season schedule to propel you into that region tournament and get you into the state playoffs?
Execution, and just really how to execute. I think, and that comes from being a little bit more disciplined in our movements and being more disciplined where we are on the court. The losses were not for a lack of effort. And that's where I have to do reflection as a coach and kind of go back and look at those losses and study that film and how can I prepare them better for that. And then the other half of that is just keeping them confident and up, because it is, it's just like a right hook here, a left hook there, and it's just, we don't want to be beaten down by it. We want it to make us stronger. And I actually heard this really great analogy. My friend and I were talking about a golf ball. Every time a golf ball gets hit, it gets a dent. But those dents actually help propel the golf ball farther. And in life, we're going to get broken down and beaten down, but you got to know that maybe that's what you need to get you that extra inch or to win that extra point in a really tight game. And I'm holding on to that. So,
from an athletic standpoint, and we talked about this the first time we spoke, the first week of this podcast, we talked about sort of the change in mentality from being a player to being a coach. And how there was no gray moral victory era when we were players, but you have to gain that as a coach, and that wins. It's not black and white. The whole of it is not black and white. and we spoke with Taylor Reed, Louisiana Monroe commit. Taylor Reed, first student athlete we've had on the podcast. This was a couple of weeks ago. And, if you ever wonder, am I making a difference? Are the things I'm doing making a difference? The way that she spoke about how you coach them, listen, I personally love the water bottle throwing. I love the fire. That's my kind of, those are the kind of coaches I like to watch. I've mentioned that a lot of times. It's a Coach Niblett, it's a Chan Brown, it's a Charlemagne Gibbons. Like that's what I like. And we see that in you, but the behind the scenes stuff, and perfect for Behind the G, is how you're teaching them that it's about more than what you physically can do. It's about where you mentally are and what you're doing to prepare them mentally. That will kind of be the difference. At some point, it's going to be the difference.
Right.
That was what she honed in on as the biggest change with the program since you took over. You mentioned doing yoga, mindset training, all that sort of stuff with the girls the first time we had you on. Have you seen a change in them in that regard?
Yes, I will say that we're a lot more composed when we're in high pressure situations and we're not with each other like I told them we kind of were at the beginning of this season. Like they've really leaned in on one another a lot better, I would say. And that to me is what's important. I mean, I hate losing. I mean, I hate losing a board game with my family. I hate losing with my husband and I play pickleball, like losing's losing, but I can take a loss a little bit better knowing that we've come a lot of way and I know that I've seen the growth and it may not show in the scoreboard, but I can tell like in their character traits and in their effort that they're giving and the way that they're supporting each other better on the court. And so that's what I'm proud of.
So as we two things as we turn our eyes towards the getting closer to the end of your season, you're gonna have senior night coming up. Mm-hmm. So talk to us a little bit about your seniors, what they've meant to you as in this program coming in your first year, as you're trying to build that relationship with them, and then talk to us about the region tournament and where your hopes is, where you kind of see that going.
So the 4 seniors, it was really important when I came into the program that I met with them first. And so we sat down at Chipotle before I'd even sat down with the team for the first time. And I kind of laid out my expectations and what my plans were for the season. And I kind of wanted to get their feedback and their input because their buy-in was really important. Because senior leadership is a huge, huge piece. And so I wanted to set the tone with them from the jump. And I think they responded nicely. They were the ones at almost just every summer practice, everything that we did, the first one setting the nets up. And that was a big thing, like lead by example. You can't pull the senior card and I don't have to do this because I'm a senior. No, like you need to do it more than ever before because you are a senior to kind of really show the younger girls the culture that I'm trying to build. And they've really done a great job. And they all have played really crucial roles right now on the court. And so we talked about Taylor and her role, and she's done a great job going from a middle hitter to right side for us. Carol's done a great job just being consistent in that middle hitter position. LG and Kendall have both been moved around to different defensive spots and have done a great job responding to that. So all of them have really played a crucial role this season for us. So I hope that like for senior night, we can really just like win.
Yeah. And on top of it being senior night, we're playing North Hall.
Right.
And there is nothing we like better
that may have been planned
in Redsville,
right.
Than beating
Not
North
just
Hall.
Win, but a win.
A win.
And then, yes, going into the region tournament, Seconder is going to be a really big game for us on Tuesday at their home court because we're both pretty even in the region, and that's going to be, I think, the deciding factor. And if we'll go in the 4th or the 5th seed to the region tournament, and obviously we want to beat them. But I feel like this region in general, and just even after speaking to a lot of the coaches, it's up for grabs for anybody. You know, it's like that's why everybody watches March Madness. It's just you got to win one game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And for volleyball, you have to be in the top 4 to be able to make it to the state playoffs. And so that's the goal.
Yeah.
In the top 4 of the region so that we can make it to the first round of the state tournament.
And granted,
hopefully past that.
Yeah, and granted, you hadn't played Seconder yet, as you just mentioned. That's coming up on Tuesday at Seconder. But it's got to give you a little bit of confidence. You've got to be in the top 4. And listen, all you need is a shot.
Right.
You got to get in to win it. You got to be in it to win it, right?
Right.
So you're right now you're sitting in that 4 seed. That's got to give you a little bit of confidence that that's attainable, right?
It is. And I think that gives the girls confidence in the back of their mind that it's attainable. You know what I mean? But now it's like we've really got to keep our foot on the gas and not like let off at all. We got to like push harder on that gas and just all gas, no brakes right now.
And don't be fooled, folks. Two things. One, our region where volleyball is concerned is tough. Johns Creek, Roswell, Milton, they all pretty daggum good. But then again, so is Gainesville. And the second thing is this. Christina, again, outsiders who maybe don't make it to a match, who just listen to Behind the G. And the reason we want you to is to get this kind of story, and not for an excuse, so anything can be excuse driven, but just so you know actually what's going on. Like, y'all have dealt with a lot of injuries, and the biggest one being the quarterback on your court, Harper, or your setter goes down, and there was no backup. Yeah. There was no two-man.
Who also started off the season playing really well.
Yes, she did.
Right.
There was no, there was no other person. And Prentice McGarvey, bless her soul, has been repositioned and stepped up.
Has really stepped up to the plate. And like you said, the setter is one of the most crucial pieces. But like I told the girls when it happened, that doesn't make or break us. You know what I mean? Like, this is a time for us all to be versatile. You're going to be put in situations that you may not have played, but that's why at practice, everybody's going to pass, everybody's going to set, everybody's going to hit. Like, everybody needs to know to do everything. So when you're called to battle, you know what to do and you're ready to go. And they've done a great job responding and staying positive and working through some of those ups and downs of just having a change. You know what I mean? So
as we wrap up with you, volleyball aside, a new environment. You've got a daughter going to a NODA. You've got another daughter going to a school we will not name. Change is hard regardless of when it comes in your life. And even if the change is something you wanted, it still is hard. So, you're 2 months in to your first school year at Gainesville High School, 2 months in to your first year as a volleyball coach in the Gainesville City school system. How's it been being a Red Elephant?
Well, like I always tell people, with change comes growth. And I feel so grateful still for this opportunity. I feel this is exactly where God has wanted me to be and I'm meant to be. And I just need to continue to lead and shine my light and pour into this program and the girls. And I'm not going to be defeated by a couple, second place. We're just gonna keep putting our head down and grinding. No, but everybody has treated me so well here. Everybody's so nice and fun, and it really has been a good time. So it's been overwhelming a lot, just kind of balancing a new role, is not just in volleyball, but the actual, the real job.
Yeah. I got you.
And so I think I'm finally settling into a place where I'm not drowning. I feel like I'm treading water a little bit better. I might be, doing the breaststroke now instead of just not trying to drown.
I love that. So now, and you all know Behind the G, co-hosted by athletic director here at Gainesville High School, Adam Lindsay, which for a lot of coaches we bring onto the show, can be a little intimidating. Christina's not one of those coaches, but can be.
He does intimidate me, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
You're so full of it.
Well, I just want to make I still don't do a good job for him.
Okay. That's a perfect segue. Is she doing a good job for you?
Well, I just want to say, I appreciate everything you're doing. You're doing a great job, and I appreciate more than anything you allowing us to give you a hard time as much as we do.
I can take it. You can't dish it out if you can't take
That's
it.
right.
I can dish it out too, so I'll take it.
That's absolutely amazing. Christina LeCeouvre, pleasure having you on again. And she was, in fact, back by popular demand. I think, aside from our chat with everybody's got something to say about when we talk with Coach Niblett.
Yeah.
But it's you and Coach Corbett. Like, you're running neck and neck for what I get the most commentary about.
I love it.
That's isn't it though? Right. But kind of the same personalities.
Yeah.
Like,
not wrong.
they're both like you. I know when both of them have walked into a building.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's okay, because people can probably say the same about me. But love what you're doing with our volleyball program. More importantly, love that you are here being a Red Elephant. And I hope 30 years from now, shout out to class of 95 again. I hope 30 years from now, Well, we're not still here doing a podcast because that's going to be just ratchet.
We'll come back to all see each other.
We'll do a reunion.
All be retired with
that's
our
right.
beach houses somewhere.
Yeah, retired as Red Elephants, though. Christina LeCeouvre. Folks, last week of the volleyball season, get on out to the Student Activity Center at Gainesville High School for senior night. Going to be a special one. If for no other reason, then we're taking on the folks up Highway 60, and we don't like the folks up Highway 60. So come on out, get your tickets at GoFam, and come celebrate senior night with us. Loved having you on, Christina. Appreciate what you do.
Go Big Red.
Make sure, if you haven't yet, that you're following us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Go Red Elephants is the handle. And bookmark our website, GoRedElephants.com, where you can find the latest news and photos from Red Elephant Athletics, plus roster and schedule information. Go Red Elephants on social media, GoRedElephants.com on the web. All the Big Red you can handle right at your fingertips. In 6 meetings from 2014 to 2019, the first 6 between the two teams, Gainesville football went 0-6 to Lanier. The average margin of victory between the region rivals, a mere 6.3 points, following a 2-year hiatus. In 2022, which happened to be Coach Josh Niblett's first year as head coach of the Red Elephants, two teams began the rivalry anew. And I do mean anew, as the winning pendulum swung mightily our way. Not just seen in the 4-0 record against the Longhorns since 2022, but a 31.5-point margin of Big Red victory. Now, this past week, at first, looked a little too much like those first 6 meetings. We were down 4 at halftime, but thankfully, Elephants never forget. And we showed up and showed out in the second half, with the end result being us finding out who the heck we were, doing what the heck we do, and getting another Big Red blowout win. Coach Niblett with us now for the weekly vibe check, and I have to ask, unlike last week when we wanted to know if the vibes were just okay, this week I'm wondering if the vibes aren't a little galvanized, feeling that maybe this team has found its true identity in some adversity.
Yeah, I do. I think so. Last week we dealt with some distractions, and so, and I think that was something that we had leaders on our team that needed to step up, and close the gap. And we had some, next man mentality attitude last week in some areas. And so I was proud of those guys. But I think the biggest thing for us is we know what we have to do. We just didn't start fast. We talked about starting fast. When we get the ball down the 5-yard line, we don't score. We get a 3 and out by them, but then, they go down to score, we come down and answer, and then it's kind of back and forth a little bit. And then, it's 28-22 at halftime, but, our kids are like, there's nobody that's, upset and pointing fingers. I mean, the coaches were upset by far. But I think the neat thing about it is we just gave ourselves an opportunity to figure out, hey, look, let's go see who we are, and we got another half of football. Let's go impose our will on them. And I felt like our guys did that in the second half. Then we outscored them. I think it was 35-3 in the second half.
Not a bad way to play in the second half.
No.
As I told y'all, I was in Phoenix watching online, and didn't enjoy the first half, but the second half made me a whole lot happier. In the second half, you went to the run game.
Yep.
You leaned heavily on the run game. Talk a little bit about Nigel Newkirk, PJ Lewis, and that offensive line, and as you said, imposing their will upon Lanier.
Well, I think this is probably, I think we've probably rushed for, or had a guy that rushed for over 150 or whatever, but we had 2 guys rush for over 120 this past week. I think we rushed for 333 yards, averaged 10 yards a rush, which is hard to do. Mm-hmm. But I can't say enough about our offensive line and Coach Cut, those guys, and just the intensity, our tight ends too, because, we're a heavy tight end team, so the edge that those guys play with, I think we had 20 dominations in the game, which means we knocked their guy on the ground 20 different times. And so, when you're doing that and you're getting movement up front, it allows it easy for your backs. But I thought those guys did a good job of having vision as we got into the game. PJ had some excellent runs there in the second and third quarter, and then Nigel just, when he hits it, and then it's patience and just, he had one run in the fourth quarter that was spectacular by him where he ducked in, ducked back out, and then set his block up and then went to the house. So, yeah, I'm proud of those guys, proud of what they were doing. I was proud of our receivers because, when we got in the fourth quarter, it was kind of like, hey, let's impose our will on them. And, we got in some bunch sets where we pushed our receivers to the safeties and let them get in the mix a little bit. And so our guys enjoy doing that too. You watch the first play of the game. CP and Cam, take their 2 defensive guys out on the perimeter on the first pin and pull. And, it was kind of one of those deals where when you watch a guy and you say, hey, here's how you block on the perimeter, those 2 were doing that. So I was proud of the physicality of our team.
It's got to be incredibly difficult for a defense to set up or game plan for a Nigel Lightning and a PJ who's going to bring the thunder. I mean, those two play very differently. One's more patient. One's going to kick it off the gas. So it's got to be difficult for a defense to set up for those two.
Well, and it's fun. I mean, it's neat for us for the fact of being that, when we know we need to run the football, because different games are going to present themselves in different ways. Yeah. It's not that we didn't. We still threw for 220.
Yeah.
But we missed on some stuff we should have hit. And then they were, we went into the game like, are they going to be an even front or an odd front? Because they've kind of mixed it around. And then they mixed their fronts up. They gave us a lot of stunts up front, but our guys did a really good job of getting pad on pad and our running back seeing the hole.
Didn't just throw for 220 yards. Kareem Hughley, our quarterback, obviously, hit 7 different receivers, which I thought was really the most impressive stat. He was really throwing the ball around a lot. Nigel Newkirk, who you heard mentioned, 169 yards total. PJ Lewis, 121 yards. Nigel, 11.3 per carry. PJ, 9.3 per carry. Just an incredible performance by those two guys, led by an offensive line that really, as coaches mentioned, imposed his will. I want to move to the other side of the ball, though. Yep. Defense. You can look at a being down at any given point in a game and think any layperson is going to think it's the defense's fault. They're giving up points. The truth of the matter is by and large, the defense kind of kept us in it in the first half. 80-yard interception return by Roger Holder, got a safety. Kept us in it despite a couple big plays. Now, if we're going to give them their due, high truth, high love, right?
Yeah,
if we're going to give them their due, we also got to.
Yep.
But kept us in it. And then in the second half, they shut Lanier out of it. Yep. Just giving up 45 yards of total offense again as we outscored Lanier 35-3 in that second half for the 57 to 32, 35 something. It doesn't matter what they scored; it matters what we scored. Win. The defense is gradually getting more and more, with all due respect, aggressive in their pursuit. There is a hunger there that maybe hasn't been seen since the likes of T-Lander roamed our sidelines. Jeremiah, that is. Tell us about how confident you are in the guys you have on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I'm very confident in them. I think your best players of defense got to play their best games. They got to play the hardest. I think that's what we talk about week in and week out. Your Xavier Griffins, people don't realize it, but he had seven tackles. He had seven solos, 4 assists, 5 tackle for losses, and 4 quarterback hurries.
Yeah.
So, when you're able to do that, and the other thing people don't realize, the presence he brings. So, if he's over here, a lot of people are going to set their protection to him. Then that allows some one-on-one matchups over here. So, I can't say enough, too, about Jamarion Matthews, and what he's done up front. We were kind of a next man mentality. I don't mind saying, due to some injuries and suspensions. And so, we had some guys that were really, really young that had to come in there and play. We played with a couple of freshmen at times. And I told those guys, and I thought Marshall Leonard played his best game of the year.
100%.
Number one is he did what he was supposed to do. He played fundamental football, and he had a sack. But he wreaked a lot of havoc. But he was doing his job, right? And I told him it was going to be highly important for this week for him to do his job and not just try to go make plays. And then, on the back end, they had a receiver that gives you a little bit of trouble on your matchups a little bit. But, where our eyes got us in trouble a few times. But then once we settled down and started matching routes and doing what we were supposed to do, then – we gave ourselves an opportunity on the back end. And when your coverage sacks, your rush is only as good as your coverage, right? And so, early on, they got the ball out of their hands pretty quick, so it was hard for us to get to them. Second half, they had to throw the ball down the field a little bit more, so we were able to get a little bit more pressure and get some more sacks, get some more tackle for losses. So, and then I thought we were good against the run game. When they tried to run the football, it was a tackle for a loss.
Yeah.
But I can't say enough about those guys. Boom, all those guys. We got to get back healthy. We got to get back with everybody, back, because that helps because it gives us depth, right? And depth for us is not the next guy that goes in. It's the next guy when he goes in, we don't have to change what we're doing.
Before we get to the opponent coming up this week, it is homecoming week. Johns Creek coming to Bobby Gruen Field at City Park. Obviously, we will, we will have a homecoming court and all of that happening at halftime. The Elephant Walk, 5:30 as per usual, so be there for that. It's just going to be a night of revelry at City Park. But before we get to Johns Creek, I want to kind of ask about special. We've all been around athletics our entire lives. We've been on teams. We've coached teams. We can smell special, and you might not want to mention it because you also don't want to give that bad juju, right? You don't want to give that bad vibe. But I want to mention some names here, and yeah, Philip Williams, a leader, anchor receiver across the middle, unafraid of getting hit, despite always being one of, if not the smallest guy on the field. Led the team this past week in receiving yards, usually leads our teams in receiving yards and receptions. Xavier Griffin, you just mentioned him. Alabama commit. Listen, folks, he ain't got to show up every Friday night, but he does. A leader. Stayed in the backfield this past Friday night. Tackles for a loss. Quarterback pressures. There's something about when I see pictures in the aftermath of our games, there's something about the eyes of our guys pursuing the ball on defense. It is just different than it has been the last couple of years, whether it's Jamarian or Darren or Marshall, but mainly Xavier. Crew Molitor, leader, had 3 bad snaps against Carrollton that were costly, but he anchored an offensive line that absolutely bullied a huge defensive front from Lanier. Nigel Newkirk, P.J. Lewis ran angry. It's like they were running for something, not from something, right?
Yep.
In the recent past, again, high truth, high love. We've had some prima donnas, and prima donnas hold you back. In one way or another, they're going to hold you back. I don't smell one on this team. I don't see one on this team. I don't feel one on this team. The attitude of it reflects its leadership, and I've mentioned toughness. Attitude reflects leadership. This team is tough, and there's something special about toughness.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like you said, special. The word I use is it. Like, I mean, you either got it or you don't have it. And you can't really explain what it is. But, like, you know if somebody's got it or not. And you want a bunch of players that have it. Because if you got it, you got toughness. Because you're going to show up every day. I mean, I just told our guys this morning after practice, I was like, look, what we cannot do is fall victim, all right, to our circumstances and to our conditions, right? So our word this week is standard, okay? It's not about who we're playing. And the thing about it, people don't understand. And now, this takes what you just said to another level. If you look in the word standard, there's 3 letters, A-N-D, right? And on your team, you either got and guys or you got but guys, right? And we want a bunch of and guys, which means we just keep stacking stuff on top of stuff and stacking days on top of days, games on top of games, performances on top of performance. But when you're a but guy, you might be good at something, but here's an issue. You don't know what you're going to get. But he could be inconsistent, right? And so for us, we want a bunch of and guys. And I told our guys this week, it's all about being an and program. Can we stack something together this week, all right, and it just be about our standard? Like, so I asked our guys today, what's the word? Gave it to them on Monday, and they said standard. And I was like, well, what's that supposed to look like? High energy at practice. They didn't even say anything about the game, right? And so I said, well, look, we're either going to practice to our standard right now or we don't, all right? And so that's all we're trying to evaluate. We ain't worried about the scoreboard. It's a faceless opponent, all right? We are going against us. And that's the hardest thing when you want to win a championship and make a run at a championship. It's not the opponent. It's you versus you.
Yeah.
And so we have those guys that I think are trying to push the envelope and push the other guys and hold them accountable. And that's the difference between being special and being average.
Perfect segue into talking about this week's opponent, Johns Creek, who comes in at 0-4. His coach talking about his message to the team this week, about it being about us, about being and guys, stacking positive plays, stacking wins, stacking good moments. Because Johns Creek, frankly, this is the high truth, high love theme this week. They're not bringing a whole lot to the table. This is, if you're a great team, they always say great teams should be great against lesser opponents as well. And Johns Creek right now is that.
Well, they're just trying to find their identity, right? I mean, they're in a situation where they're just struggling, just trying to make some plays on offense, to get things going. They might get something going and then they have a fumble, or they turn a bad play into a really, really bad play. And we don't need them to learn their identity.
Not against us.
And learn what they want to do against us. Now, they had an open week last week, so they have an extra week to prepare for us. But it's like I told our guys, this week is not about Johns Creek. It's about us, and just like every week. But even more important this week, and it's homecoming. And I told the guys, look, homecoming is for people to come back. Like they want a show, let's give them a show, right? And all these people that are coming back, they may only come back this one time. But if they come back, let's make sure they remember our standard, all right, and how we play, the way we play, and the energy in which we play with. And I think that's important this week. So that's all we've talked about.
So, I know, and as we've talked about, no disrespect to Johns Creek, by any stretch of the imagination, we have to spend this week working on us and preparing us, not looking past this week, but for everything that's coming. How do you keep our guys focused on? Everybody knows where Johns Creek is, and continuing to stack practices. How do you keep them focused?
Well, I'll tell you this: if you were at practice this morning, you would think we were playing for the region championship. And it's game 9, 10. Like, because number one is I'm going to coach them hard.
Yeah.
Number one is they're not going to have a choice, right? I can either encourage you out of it or I can pull it out of you. And so for us, like, we just talk about, hey, where's the energy at? Because it all starts with energy, right? I mean, we want energy, then we want to get to high effort and then high execution at practice. All right. And if we're doing those things and we are competing against each other, because I put enough good on good in there to where nobody likes to get embarrassed. All right. Everybody wants to compete. And so that's what our guys do a really, really good job of. So just trying to get them to focus on something. And I told them the other day, I was like, look, I mean, I don't know how good Johns Creek is, right? I can watch film, all right, and I know the scores, but I don't care about that. Yeah. They're trying to do the same thing you're doing. They're trying to win a football game, all right? So I'm not going to disrespect them at all. Yeah. I said, but at the end of the day, in this room, we're all we got, we're all we need, and we're all that matters. When Friday night rolls around and we go out there and the ball snap, it's not going to matter about them, so don't make it about them. And I think our guys are locked in on that right now, and I think we have that goal of winning the region. I told them we can't go 3-0 without being 2-0.
Absolutely.
So I want to kind of wrap up football talk, and then we're going to get to something a little fun to wrap up the vibe check this week.
But
Coach Niblett is all about that fun, baby.
Yeah.
So you mentioned in passing a little while ago about some internal adversity faced last week. Obviously, not going to name names, not going to name incidents, nothing like that, but this is behind the G. We do sort of want to get an inside scoop, even if that inside scoop is just understanding how a works. So when you have guys who, they, for one reason or another, for one situation or another, because of an attitude adjustment that might be needed, whatever the case may be, they're not living up to the standard of your program. They're not living the culture that you want to exist within the walls of your locker room. And it happens close to game day. And you've got to make a tough decision. And it's starters. It's guys who play a lot. It's guys who contribute. It's guys who are liked on the team. How do you get your guys? Is it difficult to get your guys to stay together? What are the conversations like with your team leaders?
No, it's not. I mean, anytime you ever deal with adversity, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, you get your core nucleus of guys together and, hey, here's the situation. This is where we're at. All right, let's lock in and focus on what we're doing. All right, and then when the time permits itself the way it needs to be handled, we're going to handle it. Yeah. So bottom line is that. I mean, I don't try to sit around and, whether it's game day, day before the game, week of a game, bye week, off season or whatever. I mean, there's a time and place for everything, and there's, need to know basis also.
Yeah.
And everything we do stays internally with us, and so whatever it is, whether it's a guy that needs to be pushed to play better or a guy that doesn't make a good decision. The core nucleus of guys that are on our team that are our leaders, they're informed. But also, a lot of times they'll come to me before I go to them. And I think that's the key is you got to keep your core nucleus of guys where everybody's on the same page and everybody understands what's going on. And then you move forward. And then when it's time to handle it, you handle it. And then you handle it the right way and then you move on. Yeah. Right? I mean, that's what we do.
Have you noticed accountability between players this year in all facets?
I have, and I think we have to continue to improve that, right? I mean, because I think sometimes guys will hold guys that are accountable that maybe they're a little younger, or maybe that's not their boy, or
right. They won't hold it. Yeah.
And so But I tell guys all the time, I'm like, look, man, like, you got to understand, like, I know that's your boy, right? But your boy also understand he's your teammate. You go to the movies with your boy. You go to battle with your teammates. So which one is most important to you, all right, whenever we're in the locker room, when we're going on the field? You can be boys on the weekend, but you still got to hold each other accountable, right? But if I don't hold them accountable off the field and I say something to him on the field, then it just becomes an argument. Now it's about who's right, and then he's offended. And we try to talk to our guys the right way of doing it too. I mean, there's a certain way you do it to where you don't belittle a guy, you don't call him out in front of his teammates. You walk up beside him and say, hey, look, hey, you got to pick it up a notch. Or, hey, you might want to think about doing this. And I think that's an expectation that we have some guys on our team that I think do a really, really good job of that. I think some people think that being loud and hollering at people overall makes you a leader, and it doesn't. I think leaders, to hold people accountable, you got to know how to do it in order to get the best results from it.
Speaking of holding people accountable and yelling, and you didn't really stomp your feet. There was a lot of pointing, though. There was a lot of pointing.
You talking about Adam?
No, I'm talking about you. What kind of fear of the Holy Spirit did you put in that officiating crew Friday night?
I had to continue praying throughout the game, after the game, Saturday. So when Mondays roll around and we meet with our players, I always do the debrief from the game before. And so it's always the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I told Adam this morning, I said it was Monday. I said the good was, I went through all the good. And at the bottom of the good, it said, and everybody kept their composure, right? But the head coach, right? But look, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to protect my players, and protect our program. And I get a little upset. Normally, I stay pretty cool, but when it gets to a level to where, hey, enough's enough, I'm not going to speak on that. I did get a little fiery the other night, and I think our kids fed off of it after a little while also.
Well, number one is warranted. And number two, I think you're right. The kids feed on it. The kids know that you have your back. They know that you're standing up for what you want. That stuff goes a long way. Yeah,
well, the other thing is this, like we talk about like starting faster, I think we had a really good revival meeting Monday. Because you have to look at a lot of different things. Everybody's like, well, what about, like, do we warm up too long? Do we go out to activation? Are we doing this? Or, like, what's going on? I don't think we're locked in enough before the game. Like, I just think we're too loose sometimes before the game. I remember when I was in college, and all of y'all remember when you were playing, it's not that you just have to be like this, but, you're better at being that than you are – joking or being,
it's a whole lot easier.
I couldn't joke.
Because it distracts everybody else, right? And I didn't think we handled the pregame the other night, which when you go to Lanier now, it's a whole nother level as far as like if you're an opponent, if you're at Lanier and you're playing somebody, that's the best place to play somebody that's coming to see you.
Yeah.
It's a long walk. It's a weird environment. And because here's the deal. At halftime, ain't nobody messing around at halftime.
Right.
Ain't nobody laughing. Ain't nobody goofing off at halftime. And I told him, I was like, you want to know why we play good in the third quarter? Because you're locked in at halftime. So I promise you this, we're going to fix that this week. Because our goal this week is, and our standard is to play fast early. How good can we play early?
Well, and we had the conversation about Lanier and the long walk from pregame. And I don't want to simplify it as much as it's a long walk. There's a lot that happens on that walk. And you may have just had your pregame speech with the team, got them all focused. Then you got to walk half a mile. Well, what happens on that half mile walk? Who do you run into? Is there a mama or a girlfriend or something who
there's no doubt about
loses the focus
and
just
even
like
after
that.
the game, when you're trying to get everybody in the locker room. Then you don't know who's running their mouth at your child or hey, come on, we got to go get dressed, man. Let's go. Look, we made that walk 3 times before the game started. And so, I probably didn't help, but I don't make excuses.
No,
right?
That's just reality.
But I think we got to be more locked in early. And look, man, I don't try to sit there like when I played for my dad, you didn't say a word, right? You didn't dare say a word. Not on the bus, not on anything. So when my dad comes and watches us play, Like, he can't sit in a locker room before because I'll have to get up and go, hey, let's lock in, whatever. And
they're on their phones.
He's like, I got to go outside. I can't. He just goes into that head coach mode. And like pregame meal, same thing, And I also don't want the kids to be too tight either, right? Because every guy is different,
It's a balancing act.
It is. But you got to get your own self ready and ever how you do that. But here's the thing. If you had to get yourself ready by giving off of these three guys right here, that's not getting ready, right? It's not. And then you're distracting everybody else. So we'll do a better job of that. And I think that's one thing we got to work on. And once we get that fixed, I think you'll see our start be a lot faster.
As we wrap up the weekly vibe check with Coach Josh Niblett, it is homecoming week, and of course that comes with a lot of fun for our high school students. I don't know if you guys listening in to Behind the G remember your homecoming weeks when you were in high school, but every day there's a theme and you dress up. Now, the themes have been tempered dramatically since the likes of myself, Coach Niblett, and Adam Lindsay were in high school. However, we do still have themes, and the kids dress up. And Cohen Miller, one of our senior baseball players, was just walking through the lobby of the Student Activity Center. He's got on all camo, and today is Dress Your Type Day. And what that means for all us old folks that don't pay any attention to trends on social media is there's this new thing where videos will be done with people walking through doors into rooms dressed as the type of person they would like to date, dressed as their type. So you like blondes, you dress as a blonde. You like athletes, you dress as an athlete. So you get what I'm saying, right? So it's this whole trend. So today is Dress Your Type Day, and Cohen Miller in all camo, and literally his baseball coach walks by him and he goes, dress Your Type Day? Yeah, that tracks. So, it's a lot of fun for student athletes. It's a lot of fun for coaches as well. But I'm curious, with the whole getting dressed up theme for throughout the week, with it being homecoming, what's your special, I know you're already thinking about it, what's your special fit for Friday night? When those alumni are coming back in the house? By the way, shout out to classes of 1975, class of 1995 as well. 95 celebrating 30, 75 celebrating reunion number 50.
Well, if it's not Western,
it'll be Western.
I'm going to be my Western fit.
I don't care what anybody says. When you come walking down on the elephant walk in the cowboy hat with the boot, man.
But if people don't realize like what it takes to just like, so when I was coaching before, when I was at Hoover, when I first got there, I wore a coat and tie, like to the game, every game, right? And coaches just wore like, their coaching stuff or whatever. So when you get there, you just wear it for 15 minutes.
Right.
Then when the game's over, you got to lug that stuff around if you don't have to go get it ironed again, and pay the dry cleaners. So here I am after the game's over with. I got to get the cowboy hat. I got it stacked on top of my other hat. I'm trying to carry my boots around, so I got all kinds of stuff, so it takes a lot. But look, I take a lot of pride in that. All right. Y'all know that. So, and now this year with that being my fit, I take a lot of, if it wasn't that, then it would be, it'd be a suit with a vest. That would be my other fit for sure.
I'm telling you, okay, so last home game, Carrollton game, we're not going to talk any more about it than just to say it was a Carrollton game. But you were walking down, and I looked at Scott Rutherford, who is our spotter up with PA guy Ryan Casper. We were watching that. I looked at him and I said, if Coach Niblett does not come down that road in red cowboy boots at some point, I was like, I don't know what we got to do to make that happen. Tacovas, if you're listening.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's work it out.
Of course they are.
Of course. Well, if they're not, we need to send the link.
If they're not, we need to send the link. That's awesome.
Yep.
All right, folks, this Friday night, homecoming.
Red ostrich.
Yes.
It'd be perfect.
I would wear
new
boot goofing.
I would wear them.
There's no doubt you'd wear them.
I would wear them for sure. Part. And I'd take a red cowboy hat too. That'd be pretty cool too.
You realize why he's throwing out suggestions.
Yep.
Come on, people.
What's
anybody out there?
Come through.
Size boots 12. Yep. If you can get them in Dan Post, those fit a lot better. So, but yeah, I'll take whatever. It's fine. Here we go.
promos this week. Just him trying to get himself fitted out. I love it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Changing the commercials.
That's it. This Friday night, Johns Creek coming to City Park. They'll be on Bobby Gruen Field with our Red Elephants. Come on out, see us stomp. Go Fans where you get your tickets. Folks, make sure that you're following football on social media at @RedElephant_FB. But more importantly, be at the game this Friday night to cheer on Big Red as they go for a 2-0 record in region play against Johns Creek. Be there for homecoming. Be there for our boys. But just be there because that's what Red Elephants do, right, Coach?
Yep, we need everybody to show up and show out. And God bless everybody and go Big Red.